Hello guys, here we are. It's gonna be an exciting one. I have plans. I have made videos on my channel previously about kidney disease and my amputation story, hospitalizations, all this crazy stuff. But I've never sat down and really talked about the complications in one video and how they have affected my life. I was inspired by my friend Erin. We did a podcast episode. She invited me onto her podcast, Resilience in Action with Erin Brown. I will definitely let you guys know when it airs. So follow me on Instagram and I will post everything on my social media, so make sure you don't miss it. We talked a lot about my story and my complications and type 1 diabetes, and it really inspired me to make this video because I want to talk about how these complications have really changed my life. Some of it very positive, some of it maybe a little negative, but all in all, this is the life I live now. I also want to be very clear about this is my story, my life. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving out advice. I'm sharing the things that happened to me. It does not mean this will happen to you. I spent years and years not caring about my diabetes at all, acting as if I did not have it. I didn't test my blood sugar for years. I guesstimated my insulin. I rationed my insulin. I ate and drank whatever I wanted. My weight was crazy up and down. I just didn't care. And I want to share what happens when there's a long period of time where you don't care about your diabetes. So there are people who have complications very early on, some people who don't have complications at all and have had diabetes for 30 years. So there's no guarantee this will or will not happen. But I thought for a long time that I was immune to all of this and nothing bad was going to happen to me. And the bad things happened. So let's just jump into it. The first thing is diabetic retinopathy. I had 20/20 vision for a long time growing up, great vision. I used to love driving at night. It was one of my favorite things to do. Just get in the car, put on some music, and just drive. I now have night blindness. It's very hard for me to make out the road, the curbs. I'd have to be going extremely slow. There would have to be like well-lit areas. I would have to have my brights on. So diabetic retinopathy started for me when I was 22. I had my first cataract surgery at the age of 21 or 22. I don't have the dates memorized in my head. I'm 34, so these exact numbers blur a little bit. I will link my videos, like my separate videos below about like my surgery, my retinopathy, my amputation, my kidney disease. I will link all those separate videos below also, so you can go back and check those out. So I remember sitting in bed one day, I was reading a book. I was in high school at this point, I think. And I remember being able to it was almost like I had blind spots. Like I couldn't make out the word. And I was like, oh, that's so weird. I feel like there's like letters missing. Like I can't make out the words. But I was like, okay, my blood sugar is probably high, because usually with blood sugars, you can tell like your vision's a little more blurry. Your vision is affected very quickly. Like your blood sugar will go up, you get blurry vision, it'll go back down, your vision will go back to normal. So let's just fast forward. I had a hemorrhage. So basically my blood vessel in my eye burst and blood just went into my line of vision, and all I could see was blood floating around. And I was like, holy crap. I was probably 21 at this point, maybe even 20. And I went to the doctor and they told me, you have diabetic retinopathy. It was like, ta-da! At first, like it only took like a week or two for that blood to clear. It was very quick. And as I'm getting older, I'm noticing that it takes longer and longer. Now, luckily, I haven't had a hemorrhage in over a year. It's going on 2 years in January. But the last one I had took about 5 months to heal. Just based off of what a doctor has told me, diabetic retinopathy is when the blood vessels in your eyeballs are weakened. So it's hard for them to hold that blood. So when your brain sends a signal that blood is needed in the eye to function right and to see, that blood goes to the eye, those blood vessels are weak, they're irregular, they burst. They can't hold that blood, and that blood goes into your line of vision. Sometimes it'll be like in the side, it's not always right in there, but oftentimes, for me anyway, anytime a hemorrhage did happen, it was right in my line of vision. So my eye, I would be completely blind in that eye with just like maybe a little bit of movement here and there. But in order to keep my central vision, my doctor lasered away, they cauterized the blood vessels in the peripherals of my eye, up here, to the side, left, right, up and down. So I have zero peripheral vision in both of my eyes. So pretty much my peripheral vision starts here and here and here. I've had to learn how to live and function with no peripheral vision. I will not see anything coming from the side. If I'm walking and I'm not staring at the ground, I will not see anything that's in my way, including like a traffic cone. I will walk right into it. So I'm constantly, if I'm really trying to focus on what's around me, I'm looking around, I'm looking down, up, to the side, like constantly. Another reason why I don't like to drive, because when you're driving, you can usually, you know, it's really important to have peripherals. You can see if someone's like coming into your lane, or if there's someone coming off an exit on this side. I have to be constantly looking everywhere, and it's exhausting. I also have retinal scarring. So they're some of the blood vessels that burst, they healed, but they scarred. So a lot of them scarred underneath the retina, and so it pushed up the retina, which was starting to tear. So the doctors went in, they did retinal welding. So they did a vitrectomy and retina welding. So the vitrectomy is when they remove the jelly. It's called the vitreous jelly or gel. I don't know, my doctor said vitreous jelly. It seems very medical term, but let's just call it vitreous jelly. They remove that and they put like a saline fake solution in your eye. And with the vitreous jelly, they remove the blood. So they suck out all the bad stuff. They put in a solution that stays in the eye, mimicking the vitreous jelly. And they removed the scarring, the scar tissue from underneath the retina, and then they welded the retina back down. So that did cause some scar tissue to remain on the retina. So I do have blind spots. So it's very difficult for me to read because my eyes can't make out the words, because if they're little, if they're big, I can usually read it. But my brain kind of fills in those spots with whatever's behind it. So if I'm reading on black paper, let's say, and the font is white, then some of those letters will be missing, but the black will come through. My brain will fill in what's around it, and it'll just have like spots of black. I've just had to figure out how to live and be very, very aware of what's around me. And a lot of times I'm not, and I'm very clumsy on top of that. So I will put something down, and I'll turn around and I'll like move my hand and I'll just shatter a glass because I just forgot that glass was there. I used to work at a bar. Somebody would be like putting their hand out to shake my hand, and I would just stare at them, and they're like, and I'd have to like look down. I'm like, oh, sorry. Or they were like handing me something, and I'd be like, oh yeah, just, you know, wave it in front of my eyes. Honestly, like that's not rude to me. Just, you need to wave it in front of my face. And, you know, I've made the choices to drive as little as possible. And if I do drive, it's very close to home. And during the day, make sure I have my sunglasses, which does help with like the glare. You know, it's been years now since I've had these surgeries, and eventually you just kind of, your eyes just adjust. And this is just where my peripherals are. Like for some people, they're back here. They can see all the way to the side. For me, it's just right there, so. Kidney disease is a very common one. It's almost not even, I don't know that I would call it a complication, because it's like some people have gastroparesis, some people have celiac disease with diabetes. It's almost like more of a hand-in-hand type of thing other than a complication. It's like, oh, you were, you know, awful with your blood sugar, so this is what's happening. But for me, that is how it happened. So because my blood sugars were so up and down and all over the place, and my urine had protein in it, and my kidneys were working overtime because my blood sugar was consistently so sky high. My A1C was 15.1 at its highest. But my kidney function has gone down and up and up and down and all over, and I am a firm believer that you can reverse kidney damage and that you can improve your kidney function. My lowest kidney function was 38%, and right now I'm at 62. So I've been very stable, but I did drop to 38 after I was in the hospital and I was on these crazy antibiotics, one of them being vancomycin, which is notoriously horrible for your kidneys. So that put me in kidney failure, but I was able to get my kidneys working. I mean, it feels like it took years to feel like I bounced back from all those antibiotics. I just have to be on a kidney-friendly diet, which I highly recommend seeing a dietitian. You don't realize all the things you can't eat when your kidneys aren't functioning. And I think the other thing that could be a big side effect from kidney disease is you could just be lethargic and fatigued just all day long out of nowhere. You're just like, I'm so exhausted, and it's due to your kidneys. So those are things that I have to watch out for. You know, I don't really think about it. Once I'm set on this meal plan, I don't really think about my kidneys every day. I just make sure I'm drinking enough water and not eating the things I'm not supposed to be eating. Neuropathy. This is what led to my double toe amputation. They were amputated a year apart on the exact same day at the exact same time. So I lost my pinky toe January 11th, 2017 at 7:30 in the morning, and I lost my second toe on the same foot January 11th, 2018 at 7:30 in the morning. Neuropathy is nerve damage. It causes your hands, your feet, depending on where you have it. It could even be going up your legs. It causes you to not be able to feel hot, cold, pain, and that's where those problems really come in as far as your feet are concerned. If you're a diabetic and you have neuropathy, you won't feel cuts, you won't feel blisters, you won't feel open sores. You have to check your feet every single day. So again, I will post that video down below. I'm not going to get into all the details, but basically I had a blister that got really infected. The infection tunneled into the bone in my pinky. My pinky had to be removed. So then when my second toe was removed, that's kind of what started a lot of the issues, because removing the pinky toe did not affect my balance at all. But after I lost my second toe, now years later, my foot is completely, like, the bones are shifting. Everything's moving because the toes aren't being held in place the way they're supposed to be. And so my big toe is shifting, and I've had bunion surgery. I've had the metal rods put in to keep my toe straight, but there's no second toe to kind of help everything stay aligned. So my big toe is starting to shift. My whole foot is starting to, like, the bones are separating and it's widening, and it's kind of moving this way because there's no pinky toe to, like, hold the foot in place like in a shoe. I definitely will need another surgery to correct that. The issue now is that this could be a really major surgery. The last doctor that took the x-ray, he told me that they will need to break every bone in the midline on my foot and basically reconstruct my entire foot. They said it could be a 12-month recovery, which is insane. The biggest thing, honestly, it changed for me was my confidence. I do not show my foot. I would show it to you guys on here, but I have this mental block of being so, like, I do not want to show my foot. I know it's not even that bad. It's 2 toes. There's people with way more serious amputations than that are very open and they're proud of what they've overcome, and they're just so wonderful about sharing their story and showing people that it's okay. But I, for some reason, have yet to cross that threshold with my foot. I loved to wear heels and, like, strappy sandals, and now I stick to sneakers, and it's so hard for me to, like, dress up. I've had a number of times where I've gotten dressed up and cute, and I put my foot in the shoes and my foot started hurting and I couldn't wear those shoes. So it may sound shallow, but it hits me kind of hard. I feel like I can't, like, show my foot in public. And I can't be on my foot a lot. I have to be really careful. I wear this, like, it's actually like a bunion brace, but I wear it because it holds my big toe straight, which is really important for me. So I wear that around the house, but I have to be careful to not walk around barefoot. And then I have to check my feet every single night to make sure there's no cuts, no blisters. If, you know, I'm going out somewhere and I'm walking around a lot, I have to make sure I'm wearing comfortable sneakers. I have to make sure that if necessary, there is somewhere that I can rest if my foot starts hurting really badly. And just the anxiety and fear of there's clearly something going on with my foot shifting and those bones being, you know, there's like bumps and lumps and the bones are all uneven and there's a lot going on. So I would love to have that surgery as soon as possible. I just have to figure out exactly how I'm going to make that work. But I would say my foot is the number one thing I think about every single day. I survived, you know, it was gangrene and sepsis, and I survived. I also have carpal tunnel in this hand that the doctor who did all the testing and everything on this one said that with diabetes, it can very well cause carpal tunnel just because it affects a lot of just like your joints, your nerves, all that fun stuff. And my hand goes completely numb sometimes. The feeling does come back, but a lot of times in the middle of the night, it'll wake me up because I usually wear my brace, but there are some days, some nights where even through the brace, it'll start to go numb, and it goes so numb that it starts to hurt. It's like, the best way I can explain it is like a searing pain. It's almost like hot. And so it'll wake me up and I won't feel my hand. I won't be able to like close it. And I'll have to like walk around like this and like this, like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning and just get that blood flow back, because the way I'm resting or the way I'm sleeping, it'll go completely numb and it won't wake me up until it's like really, really bad pain. I am getting the surgery on this hand. It's a very, very, very minor surgery. It's not even a surgery, it's a procedure. I have trigger finger and my middle finger, so they're gonna release the trigger in here as well, and it should heal everything. Those are my complications. It seems like a lot more when I think about it, because I kind of go, oh, my vision is a complication, but there's, you know, the retinopathy, there's the retina scarring, there's the no peripheral vision, there's the night blindness, and then as far as like neuropathy, there's the amputation 1 and 2. So it feels like a lot, but when I'm sitting here talking about it, I'm like, is that it? I would say just, you know, my biggest tips is make sure you go to the doctor when you're supposed to. If you're seeing any changes, if I had gone to the doctor that night or like the day after that night when I realized that vision change when I was reading a book at night, who knows how much of my vision I could have saved. And at the end of the day, if you're faced with complications, being in the thick of it is scary as fuck. But keep going, keep fighting. Get to the other side, because I remember there was a moment and I was just sitting there and I couldn't see at all, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I told myself, where am I going to be 6 months from now? 6 months from now. 6 months makes a huge difference. So you're not alone, and it's really hard, but keep pushing, keep going. As always, you guys, comment down below, email me, whatever, go on my social media, send me a DM. I want to talk to you. I want to be here to help you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for hanging out with me, sitting here with me, and listening to me rattle on and on. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.